Welcome to The Real Game, a podcast by coaches for coaches. I am your host, Matt Philbrick. Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of The Real Game. As always, I am your host, Matt Philbrick, and it's great to be recording another episode again today. It's been about a month since I've actually put out an episode. It's been a super busy time with spring sports and everything kind of winding down here at the school I'm at. But it is my privilege and honor today to have it's weird. It's weird how life just kind of comes full circle sometimes. I can't even believe I'm old enough to be saying this, but it's good to have a friend of mine who I went to college with, his son, on my podcast with me today, Ben Humrichous. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you on here today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Ben's dad, Jason, and I went to college together, and we're pretty good friends. We played basketball together a little bit. And I know that your dad, I think, was originally from Illinois, wasn't he?
Yes, Stanville.
Yeah. So I do remember that. And you are living currently in, well, I don't know where you are right now, but I know your family is living in Indiana, correct?
Yes, it's a small town called Tipton, about 45 minutes north of Indianapolis.
Okay, good. So I have very fond memories of Indiana. Actually, I coached there from 2005 to 2010, just outside of Indianapolis, and coached at a small Christian school there. Had a great time, and it was actually, I couldn't have scripted it even better. So growing up, one of my favorite movies was Hoosiers, of course. If you love basketball, you've seen Hoosiers, you know what that is. The first game I coached in Indiana was in the Hoosier gym. And I'm like, I can't even believe this is happening to me right now. It's like a dream come true. So it would have made a better dream come true if we'd won the game. We actually lost the game, but it was great. So Ben, tell me a little bit about just growing up playing basketball in Indiana, what that was like for you. I was actually just talking to a friend of mine the other day. Indiana is a special place because everybody plays basketball there. Basketball means a lot to the people of Indiana. Tell me what it was like for you growing up there and playing ball.
Yeah, growing up in Indiana and playing basketball there, like the atmosphere is always electric. Everywhere you go, whether it's a tiny 1A school or a large 4A, whether it's a Tuesday night, Friday night, Saturday night, whatever it is, gyms are always packed. The people love the kids there. When I was in high school, and you're on that stage, the community makes you feel like that's the biggest stage, and it's awesome. It's Indiana high school basketball is so much fun to play in. It's fun to watch. I grew up. I played all sports, so I loved basketball. I loved baseball in specific. I played both of those until I was up into high school, but there's something special about Indiana basketball, just the way that the community loves on the kids. And you really feel like a star and you're on the stage there.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny that you should say that because there's a scene in Hoosiers where I don't remember what game they're going to, and there might be multiple scenes like this where people are caravanning. They show the people caravanning to the game, following the team bus. And it's not unlike that. Like everybody goes to the games. Parents are very supportive. The community rallies around the teams. And that's just how you described it is a good description, perfectly, actually. So talk about maybe some people in your life who were influential for you, maybe coaches, maybe family, whatever, whoever comes to mind that might have been influential for you as you kind of steered maybe away from some of the other sports you played to knowing that basketball was what you were going to zero in on.
Yeah. I think for the first, when it comes to people, I can start with my family. My dad has been incredibly influential, no matter how little credit I want to give him. When it comes to just the fundamentals, my dad has been so influential and just teaching me the great mechanics of how to play the game of basketball. And he's always just been one of those people that just told me just love playing. And
Yeah.
I think that so much of my growth hasn't come there just came because I just played the game of basketball, and it was something that has kind of become more into a business as I've gotten older. But I just enjoyed playing. And Dad has always kind of been one of those people that's just instilled the love to play. And so, my dad would be the first one. I've had a ton of coaches through middle school.
Hmm.
In high school, I had a coach. His name's Lou Lefebvre, and Coach Lou, his style was so defensive, and his style was just playing with grit. And he kind of always had this weird obsession with a rhino. I know that kind of sounds weird, but it was just he created this figure, and it was the rhino. So I actually, when I graduated, I got a T-shirt that said "Proud to be a rhino," and
Nice.
it was this figure of like someone who's going to play hard, it's
Hmm.
going to play with maximum effort, that's going to make winning plays even when they're not flashy. Guys that dive on the floor, and he was one of the first people that just kind of instilled a work ethic in me about just taking the time to do the things that not everybody wants to do. And so he was always incredibly influential. Playing under him, we won a ton, and there were a lot of days that were really hard. But you understood why you were doing what you were doing because we were successful, and he showed us just. I mean, we did a ton of film breakdown that really taught. Like I learned a lot from him.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
he was one more influential. I played my senior year under Cliff Hawkins, and he was great. Just playing under him, we played a really fun offense that won a lot of games. But I mean, I moved into college and I played under Coach Corey Alford, and he's been incredibly influential for me just because that's where I started to get my love for analytics. And you start to understand how basketball is developed, especially recently with the way offenses are spreading the
Hmm.
floor. And he's developed just the love for the analytics side for me. I had 3 great years under him, and I grew a lot and learned a lot. But then this last year, Coach David Ragland, incredibly influential, just instilling confidence. And I give him credit, but really it's him and his whole staff, all the way top to bottom. Just people that day in, day out instilled that all the work that I've put in over the years just culminated together, and they gave me a place where I could shine. And so I'm extremely grateful for all the coaches growing up, but those are some people that have been great to me.
That's fantastic. And I love hearing guys talk about their relationships with their coaches, obviously, but I love even more listening to you talk about your relationship with your dad. That means a lot as a dad myself. And I know that that's what a lot of, and we're going to talk about you and your, where you're at now in a couple of minutes, but that's what a lot of coaches look at. They look at your family and how you respond to your parents, your respect level for your mom and dad. So that's super important. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. We're going to talk about work ethic in a minute too. I know you brought that up a second ago, but tell me a little bit about what it was like when you went from high school to college basketball. How was that jump for you? Was it super different, faster, bigger, stronger? Like, what was it like?
Yeah. So for most people who might not know, so I'm about to go to the University of Illinois, but I have kind of a fun journey to get there. So I spent my first 3 years at Huntington University, an
Mhm.
NAIA school up in northern Indiana. And that was, it's probably one of the lesser taken routes, but it was exactly where God needed me to be and
Yep.
exactly where God wanted me to be. And the craziest thing about that jump was that when you get to that level, you start to learn that everybody on your team was their school's best player. And so it
Sure.
was such a mind shift for me. My roommate, Mitchell Wilson, was his county's leading scorer out of high school, averages 25, 26 a game, great
Yep.
high school player, and gets to my team and played under, like our freshman year, he averaged 10 a game, had a great
Yep.
year,
Yep.
came right off the bench, averaged 10 a game. But you start to get this shift where when you get to college, everybody's their team's best player. And so
Sure.
the big shift was I'm going from scoring 19 a game in high school to you have to adapt with all these other great players.
Hmm.
And so you catch on to the speed of the game. The guys are stronger. I mean, you have staff around you that are helping you adapt to getting stronger, quicker, faster.
Yep.
But the big thing is there's such a mindset change between high school and college basketball about understanding your role, understanding what the team needs you to do to win, and that was one of the harder things to figure out in that shift.
Yeah. Do you think that have you seen the game of basketball evolve even since you were younger to where you are now, where maybe it's gone more from, you're going to play a certain position to basketball's kind of turned into a positionless sport where everybody kind of plays every position and there's just a lot more movement. Is that something that you've noticed along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, as basketball changes to more 3-point shooting, I mean, even 10 years ago, if you told me that my freshman year, we had our 5 man had the highest 3-point frequency on our team,
Yeah.
Caleb Middlesworth. And
Wow.
if 10 years ago you told somebody, even in the NBA, that that's how that was going to work,
Yeah.
they might look at you a little crazy. And so much of basketball has shifted less from positions to roles. And you have guys that are on the floor that might not, like the term point guard has turned into facilitator,
Yeah.
or your 5 man has turned into your rebound scrapper. And it's kind of like the position has changed, but roles like 3-point shooter, playmaker, and slasher, and all those terms are developing more
Sure.
instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because your
Yeah.
splasher might now be your 2 man that's 6'4",
Yeah.
which was traditionally your 2 man. So it's changed so much that I could probably talk about it forever. But I totally
Yeah.
agree.
And I'd love to listen to you talk about it for a long time, but unfortunately, Zoom's going to kick us off if we stay on here too long. Talk to me about work ethic a little bit. Obviously, you don't get to where you are now without a tremendous work ethic. And I've coached a ton of high school kids, and only a few of them have gone on to play maybe small college basketball, and had some kids that were tremendous, workers. But it takes a special talent to get to where you are now, and a combination of a lot of things. But one of those things is your work ethic. So talk to me about how important that is to you.
Yeah, absolutely. As a believer, my strength and my confidence ultimately comes from the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I've just surrendered. But I'm still one of those believers that you don't get there by sitting around.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm also a believer that confidence comes from preparation. And so for me, if one of the things that started helping me to develop was starting to track makes, workouts, lifts, and so one of the things this last year I even did was I started tracking outside of practice how many makes I had. And so like having a culmination and being able to look back through a week and understand that I've put the work in
Mm-hmm.
helps with the confidence in the games.
Definitely.
So then when I get on the floor and I understand I've made whatever it is, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 shots through the week, and I get into the game and I'm getting maybe this last year 10 to 15 shots, it's not a surprise to me when I get to some of those shots that I've taken 100 times in a week.
Yeah.
And so much of the work ethic is about improving, but even improving or even helping with your confidence, helping with just making the game natural.
Mm-hmm.
And so like right now I'm in the off season. So every day I'm working so that when November comes or the end of the season in February, March turns, I remember my pretty rough days in May.
Sure.
Where I'm working hard and just and grinding.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. No, I love it. I love the confidence comes from preparation. That's great. Appreciate you mentioning that. It's a good thing for young athletes to remember for sure. I think a lot of kids just expect maybe to walk on the court and earn playing time because of maybe who they were before, or who their sibling is, or their parent is, or whatever. But there's nothing that replaces a solid work ethic and preparation. So, describe a typical day in the life of a Division I athlete.
It's fun, but you got to be committed to it.
Yep.
When you get to the Division I level, sometimes the misconception that you have to understand is that you go to class and you're truly a student first.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I'm a big morning routine guy. I need to have my Bible time in the morning. So I'm wake up probably 7:15, 7:30, Bible time. I need to get breakfast. That's something that people skip out on. I need breakfast.
Yep.
So do that around 8:00. You might have class. They set it up pretty awesome for us at Evansville to where we would have class from 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning to noon,
mm-hmm.
and then lunch. And then we had practice every day at 12:45, 1:15. And so from that span, from about 12:45 to 4 was team requirement workouts, practices, lifts, individual film, whatever.
Hmm.
in that time. And then just the way I was from about 4 to 5 was staying after. But with my schedule, it was great because I could move things around. So I would actually work out before practice or after practice with a coach. And then well, after practice, you get some dinner, you have time. And the thing that I didn't have at Huntington that I did have at Evansville is we had study hall. So we would come back in the evening with a time where we were sitting with the coaching staff and we had to do our homework or
Yeah.
do some studying. Because like I said, like the misconception is like when you're at the Division I level, like you do school, like
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
student first. So
Yeah. Well, they call them student athletes, right? So you
absolutely,
got to put the work in there too. So that's
absolutely.
important. Good. What are some factors that led you to choose Illinois over, I'm sure, other schools that were interested in you as well?
Yeah. So ultimately, like my goal after this next year is to play in the NBA. So
Okay.
everything on my mind is what am I doing to prepare myself for the NBA?
Yep.
And so some big things were style of play, the role I would have. So I want to play a style that's going to be similar to the NBA. And Illinois plays very spread out, large spacing, positionless. A lot of guys with that are long, athletic. And so like the style of play just checked off. My role, just being able to showcase what I can do. I feel that with Illinois, I'm going to be able to do that and really thrive and succeed. But then I mean, when it comes down to it, the third thing was culture. Just having
Hmm.
a professional culture, people that are have that winning mindset, guys that are going to work hard day in day out. That was something I could really see. And just relationships when you're sitting in there with a group of the guys on or the the coaching staff when you're sitting there with them
Yep.
and you can understand that this is bigger than basketball
Yeah.
and you want to win, but then those are guys that still care about you. You get in there and those relationships, it's really hard to pass up on.
That's great. That's great. Have you gotten an opportunity to know some of the guys you're going to be playing with yet next year?
Yeah, a little bit. I met so when I was on my visit, it was kind of towards the end of the year, so some guys are in and out. But
Yeah.
I met Ty Rogers at dinner. He came to dinner with us. Great dude that just is an all-around winner. Does a lot of great things on the floor. So it's been fun to meet him. I met Kylan Boswell on my visit, and I actually got to go back maybe last weekend and work out on campus, and Kylan was there. And so I haven't met a bunch of the guys, but I mean, we're in a group chat
Yeah.
talking and getting to kind of introduce ourselves.
Yeah. I'm sure that's exciting for you guys knowing that that's coming up. Um, so in this journey, I'm sure there have been times of fear and doubt that have crept in. How do you press on towards accomplishing your goal when those thoughts maybe might creep in that maybe it's just the devil trying to get a stronghold in your mind about, man, is this the right thing? Are you at the right place? Are you working hard enough? All of those stupid things that he tries to cloud your mind with. How do you get past that stuff?
Yeah. One of the biggest growing points in my life is understanding when I shifted my identity as I'm a basketball player to like there is so much bigger to I'm a follower of Christ
Hmm.
and I just play basketball.
Yeah.
So much of the stress and the fear and the doubt that comes from basketball is still there, but it starts to shift and it changes.
Hmm.
I've doubted a lot of my abilities over the years. I'm a basketball player, so you have shooting slumps, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But when I shifted my identity to I'm a follower of Christ, the shooting slumps become less. They, they're your main mission of sharing the gospel is bigger than the fear and the doubts.
Yeah.
But I still love the game so much, and so you chase it so much that the fear and the doubt becomes frustrating. So there has to be something to do that. And so when I talk about my confidence and preparation, it's easier when I can, like I said, when I can look back and see the shots I've made. It can be frustrating when you're still missing shots, but understanding that you've put the work in can combat that fear and that doubt that you have. And so the easy answer is like the rainbows and sunshine answers. I have my faith in Christ.
Hmm.
And so my identity is not in the basketball player person, but then when it comes down to the nitty and gritty and you get past that and you understand that like you're working hard and you are putting that preparation in, it starts to help with passing the doubt and the fear that you have.
Sure, sure. I love how you said basically you're a servant of Christ who plays basketball. You're not a basketball player that's also a servant of Christ. Like, to me, that shows where your priority is, right? Your priority is a relationship with Christ first. And then basketball obviously is important, but your relationship with Christ comes first. And then I think everything else probably naturally just falls into place after that. So, and you've alluded to it a few times already, but how important is your faith in Christ? And are you, does it worry you going to a place like Illinois? Do you feel like that's going to be, how are people going to view you as, because you're outspoken about it? I mean, obviously, it's important to you. How do you think that's going to be?
It's incredibly important. And I mean, I that kind of even seems like an understatement.
Yeah.
My faith in Christ is number one. My family is number two, and then my work comes third.
Yeah.
That's just my priority list. I had that worry before I stepped onto campus last year at Evansville. Evansville might technically claim to be a Christian school, but you understand kind of when you get to a school like Evansville that's like, you understand that the world is still there. And so you start to get this platform, and sometimes it can be scary, and you can get a lot of ridicule for speaking out about your faith. But I understand that my relationship with Christ is more important, and that everything else is just the devil's noise.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what was great at Evansville is the Lord provided people in my life. I got connected with the FCA there, and I met people that had the similar interests, people that I got to do life with and do studies with and grow with, that you start to find your people and your rhythm, and all the outside noise starts to go away when you have your people and you have what truly matters. That's
awesome. That's great. Great to hear you say that. It's great to hear you prioritize what your life is like. And I'm super excited to see what God does in your life. Like, just getting to know you a little bit today, Ben, I'm super impressed by you and by you as a person, first of all, and your relationship with God, your dedication to your family and your craft. I hope that takes you far. I obviously am a huge basketball fan. I saw what Illinois did this past year. They had a great run in the tournament. Actually, if I remember correctly, ended up losing to UConn, right? Who ended up winning the tournament in the end. I hope you have a successful, as successful next year as they had this past year, and you as a person are equally successful as you have been.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm going to be watching. I might even send you a message here and there just to encourage you. And I hope that, I hope it goes well for you in the coming months as you kind of head off on this next leg of your journey. So I appreciate you coming onto the podcast today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for letting me join.
All right, man. Take care. Have a good one.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Real Game. It was great to have Ben Humrichous on the show today and to learn a little bit more about his journey as he heads off to play this fall at the University of Illinois. I'd like to leave you today with a quote from Pelé, the famous soccer player, and the quote is this: "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you do and what you are learning to do." So good luck, coaches, and coach on.